And welcome, everybody. This is episode 43. I am Dirk, and that is not Will.
No.
Not at all. But she is the real deal. This is my friend Diane Deal. Codename
is Susan Austin.
Right. So it's Susan Austin who sends in all of our comments and suggestions for games. Susan Austin, who gave us the teen slang that I did last week, and which a lot of people love, I got to tell you. So she joined me this week because Will has mucho basketball going on this week, several games and practices. And so we're actually filming this after school. We had an early out today, which was nice because I guess all this nasty weather that's coming in. Yeah. So they wanted to get home the Chidlands before it got dangerous outside. So luckily, Miss Austin was free to come in and join us this afternoon. But we're calling the podcast The Real Deal.
Yes.
D-E-A-L. Not how you spell your last name, but the idea here is that you are the real deal.
I am.
So
I really am.
we get this working. I got to get used to this, too, because you sit a little smaller than Will. So seeing you over the cameras, I should have considered that. So this week, we're going to do 3 segments, as we always do. Shall I go on with Susan through the podcast? Or
It is your choice.
I might mess up and switch back and forth.
If you want to be Eddie. If you want to be Little Bro.
Right, Little Bro. Okay, we'll be the Susan and Eddie podcast this week. Okay, Susan, we're going to start. We're going to do 3 segments as we always do. The first one, the second one, and the last one. And we figured since you're new to the audience, but you're very involved with the podcast as a consumer and commenter and supplier of content, I thought Songs About Me might be nice just so you could sort of introduce yourself to the people because they've heard about you a lot but never seen you in real life. So you are a fellow teacher, and take it away.
Okay, well, I'm a product of MCPS.
Okay.
So I went to Sherwood High School, grew up in Albany, and that is where I met the illustrious Coach Austin.
Oh,
is in
a
high
shout
school.
out this
a
early.
Shout out. I know, well, I have to, because he's part of the story.
That's true.
So I met him in high school. We went to College Park. We went to University of Maryland.
Go Terps.
Go Terps. And got my first job. Well, during that time, I was a ranch hand at Roy Rogers.
Is that what they really call them?
Oh, yeah.
They call them ranch hands.
Yeah.
So I know different places have different names. Like you got, you're a customer service associate. You're not an employee, or you're a, or a team member. I think Target.
Yes,
when my wife worked at Target, you're a team member. But I'd never heard ranch hand.
Yes, and I had the little calico skirt and the cowgirl hat. It was to die for.
I will admit spending quite a bit of time in Roy Rogers as a high school student to eat. I enjoy
favorite burger.
I enjoy just the bacon cheeseburger. I'm not a double R guy, but you just give me the bacon cheese. And we had friends there, Diane and Susan, Diane, Gertrude, and a little. This is a weird fact about me, and then I promise it'll be about you again. Luckily, Will's not here to laugh at me because I made it about me, even though it's Songs About You. My friends, I had 3 or 4 friends that worked at Roy Rogers, the local one in Middletown, or in Frederick, actually, from where we went. And, I think they did great stuff with, like, scholarship stuff. I think if you went there, they were... anyway, they knew I loved pickles. And so they had the pickles out on the pickle bar, of course, the Fixin's bar.
Fixin's bar.
But they would always... I had one girl named Kelly, I think was her first name, and she would always give me a small cup of pickle juice. Because the pickles, I would drink when I was a teenager. I loved drinking pickle juice. Not a ton of it because it's mostly vinegar, but and she would go. She says, "Oh, the 5-gallon. We get them in 5-gallon buckets, and when we're done scooping the pickles out, there's all the juice left. And they're not really dill, but they were close enough that it was so little stupid story. So anyway, you were a ranch hand at Roy Rogers.
I was a ranch hand, and then when I was in college, I was working on Route 1 at R.J. Bentley's.
Oh, okay.
So I was
not literally on Route 1.
I wasn't working the strip now.
You were working. And what was R.J. Bentley's? What is that?
It's a restaurant.
Oh, okay.
They sell hamburgers, specialty hamburgers and burgers.
Still there?
Sandwiches. They are still there.
Are they? I went there for my master's. Didn't hear of them.
Oh, yeah. So they've been there since that was a long time ago.
Family owned or like a...
It is... It was a family-owned. They might have changed hands a couple times.
But not like a... You won't find them anywhere else?
No,
okay.
they're themselves.
Gotcha. So not like a Lido, which was there, but also everywhere else.
Yeah, Lido's started there and went crazy.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, there's even one in Hagerstown now and one in Martinsburg, West Virginia.
Yeah,
So
Dalesville had one, or
they-
still probably does.
They still do,
Yeah.
because or at least as of last year, because I would go there with Will sometimes and his family.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be the place after football games or something they go to.
well, the
get
Hornet's
dinner.
Nest.
I've been there too.
That's a great place.
Will took
That's
me
my
there
favorite.
too. They got great burgers.
Oh yeah.
And there was
double
some other
sting.
place I haven't been yet, but that's the place. It's right on Main Street. It's got all
Yes.
the paraphernalia up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've definitely been there. I just can't remember. There was one other place he told me about. And I don't think I've.
Probably Quincy's.
But yes, that's one. And he, I will say this about Dalesville: it has an amazing small town atmosphere.
Yes, it does.
That's really beautiful for Montgomery County. Like,
To hang on to that, and we've kept. They have always shot down any kind of like big box stores or things that would make it more commercial.
right.
They don't want it.
It's wonderful. Well, and here's the thing. Because of that, you go to a Friday, like I remember when Will's little brother Preston was still playing with Damascus, and I'd go see a basketball game or a football game. The hometown fans are just strong. It's
Yes.
and everything is themed Hornets, and everything's themed Damascus, and the colors are everywhere. It's just, it's really kind of a unique step back in time. They're really holding on to it as long as they can, which is really nice.
I hope they continue.
Yeah, at least for a while.
So long as I'm there.
So you worked at RJ Bentley's, and while you were at Maryland, and then out of college, you
Then
did
out
what?
of college, I had like a week off, and then I started working at Vitro, which was it's changed hands now. It's BAE Systems. It's a defense contractor.
Okay.
So I was just a technical editor, writer, did a little bit of graphic stuff, and I would go on sites. Like they would basically have a contract with the Department of the Navy, and they would go to places like Hawaii or Puerto Rico, and they would do missile firings, and
Okay.
they would do that. And then my job was to get all the information, and we would create these documents that the big brass would want.
So after with the results and feedback and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. So I was hoping you weren't going to say, and my job was to be the target.
Right.
I ran around. They tried to hit me. Was that a job that required you to have clearance because
Yeah.
of the stuff that you did? Okay. So
I needed a secret, but I mean the people really running it are all
Right.
black tops.
Okay, yeah, pretty
so.
cool. Because I know anytime you're doing that kind of, even just to edit or to look at it, you're
Yeah.
not necessarily composing it, right?
You're
You
in
would
a
just-
skiff. You're in a locked room. It's
Right.
it's just, you can't even use a bathroom. You've got to call someone to
Really?
It's yeah. It sounds all like wow, but it's not.
Wow. Well, to me, editing documents doesn't sound wow, because that would be tedious for me. But that was your degree in English or journalism?
It was
or
in
what?
communications.
Okay.
So I mean, it
Close
was in
enough.
the right. And I had a journalism minor, so I mean, it worked. And it was one of those lucky things. I knew someone whose parent worked there.
Right.
It was one of those.
But a good government contract job and
Right.
out of school for sure.
Right. And I did that 15 years.
Okay.
And then I had the fourth kid, and I was like, we had, and during this time for the daycare, once I had 3, it was much more economical to get an au pair who would be in our home to
Than
try
pay
to
for 4
solve,
people.
right, well, at that point, 3.
Okay.
And so we had au pairs for a number of years, and we had some great ones, and we're going to be visiting a couple of them over the summer, one in Denmark and one in Germany, but some of them not so great.
How do you, sorry to interrupt, how
Yeah,
do you go
please.
to pick something like that? Like, it seems like, I mean, is there a website you go to, or
Well, you
aupair.com,
hire with a company. It was
Okay.
EF Au Pair is who we used.
Okay.
And basically, you give them all your details, and then they will try to give you maybe 3 or 4 choices. These are some people that we think are a good match for you.
Okay.
And you look at their applications, and you look at all their details, and then you'll say, okay, well, we choose this one, and that's kind of how it is.
And what happens if it doesn't work out? Like, are they people that these teenage people, 20s people?
They can be. They're usually like around 18, 19, 20, somewhere in that.
So is
age.
this kind of like the Russian swim lifeguards that you see at pools, where a lot of those people come from overseas to lifeguard and stuff? I've heard. I don't know that to be
Well,
true.
like in Ocean City, you see a lot of like Russians and or Irish will come for the summer, and that's
Right.
like a special visa. These kids are coming over on an educational visa, a
Okay.
J1 visa. So they come and they're required to take like one college class, like go to MC or something to
Okay.
fulfill that. And they skip. They don't even go to class. They
Right.
sign up for it.
Right.
And that's all that they have to do. But yeah, so I mean, the issue comes that they are someone else's teenager. So they come to the U.S.
Right.
and they have, this is
Freedom.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm free and I can see all these things.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's also the job.
Right.
And, it's like, and then they compare their situation to other households. Well, you only have to work 30 hours a week, and I have to
Gotcha.
work the full 45.
And is that a negotiated thing between you and the company, or you and the au pair?
No, I mean, and at that time, 45 was the normal work week because you had to allow the parent at least an hour to get to and from work.
Okay.
And they had to work the 40 hours. So they understood that, and we had to use all those hours. But the thing is, with our house, they could do whatever they wanted. They had a car. They could come and go. I mean, I was some of the parents were like, tracking the odometer. They were picking up the phone receiver or listening in on intercom. And these people are like speaking German and French. It's like, you don't even know what they're saying.
Right.
But it was weird. And I said, you've got a good situation. Yes, you have to work 45 hours. Okay,
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I got to commute to work. But you have it pretty good. And the ones that we have kept in contact with all these years, realize that.
And how long was their contract?
A year.
But during that year, let's say something goes haywire.
If something goes haywire, and we had several haywires, and I want to go down that
Yeah,
path,
that's fine.
My therapeutic book, that's going to be coming out when I'm retired, that's going to be a bestseller.
Can you give me one example of a haywire without specific? Like,
there was
how bad?
There was one person who, it's like mentally, emotionally, was about 9 years old.
Oh, okay.
So, and then it's like, well, they didn't catch that in the interview process.
Yeah, not able to handle even the responsibilities.
Right. I was afraid to leave her with my kids.
Understood.
And I finally, and everything she wore had Disney, Pooh Bear, and Tigger, and I'm just like wearing her hair in pigtails, and I'm like, I'm not comfortable.
No offense, honey. No, but in that case, there was no demonstration of ability to manage a situation if something should occur. Yeah. So once you had the third or fourth child,
once I had number 4, I was like, I don't think we can. I can't do another 5 years of this.
Right.
So we decided that I would stay home. Mm-hmm. And Coach Austin is a financial planner.
Okay.
So he has his own business. So we basically let him support the family on just that.
Yep.
And we also lost my health insurance because I was with MCPS.
You were the brat. Yep.
I was at that point. No, actually, I wasn't with MCPS. Not yet. Sorry,
no,
got ahead of myself.
The government stuff.
Right. So we had to just go get insurance. It was hard. So when little man got
That's nice. It's nice because it's cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not good.
No, it's not good.
But yeah, you want cheap or you want good. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, so where was I?
You had left the government job, and
I left
Coach Austin was
and
supporting
so
everybody.
for 4 years he's supporting everyone, doing his thing. And then when I went back to work, I was like, I didn't want to go back to what I was doing. So I wanted to be in the school system.
Right.
And I decided to, and I didn't have a teaching degree. That was the problem.
But convenient too, because then when the kids are out, you're out, and a lot of people look at it that way. It's one of the best benefits. Yeah.
So
plus
I went
good
ahead.
State coverage, good health coverage, good.
You could work like 4, whatever half time and still get that sweet coverage.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I went ahead and I was 7 years as a paraeducator, and everything was ticking along. But I found that as a para, I mean, I had my bachelor's degree, and the people that I worked with, they started to figure out that it's like, oh, well, she could do that and she could do that. It's like, I got to make a few calls. Can you just do this?
Right.
And it started to be where they were like disappearing.
Yes.
And I was left teaching the class, and it's like, well, I'm only getting, probably a quarter of what you're being paid.
I'm going to make a joke for just a few people, but here we call that the Jill effect. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. Keep going.
Right. So I decided, okay, well, that means I have to go back to school. I got to get a master's in education so that I could actually be a teacher.
Be certified,
And I fought with that because it's like, who wants to do that?
No.
No one wants to. And I'm working 40 hours. I've got a young family.
Yep.
I don't have time. And the money.
Well, that's one of the things that, as I met you and got to know you, the word dynamo comes to mind because you had that. You were that person that if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. You were both busy but effective. And even here, I would get an email from you about something at 5:57 a.m. You were already here and working on something. We used to joke about that. I think because you would get to you. I would joke with you like, what time did Deal get here this morning? 6:02 is her first email. And so you were just a go-getter. You got everything done. And funny, I got to know you, I think the first time I really remember us talking a lot. I don't know if you remember this or not, but I do. We were at Outdoor Ed, and I got put with you doing either orientation or predator prey.
it was orientation. We were
Yeah.
sitting at the fire pit.
Yeah, we just sat at the
Yeah.
fire pit while
And
the
Shannon
kids ran
showed
off.
up.
Yeah, and Shannon brought my
Yeah.
son up, and it was just great because you and I had almost 3 full
Yeah.
days of just sitting
Just
there
sitting around
chatting.
talking, right?
And that was when I was like, hey, we got along well, and we had a good conversation, and from then it just grew back here. We got to know each other's senses of humor, and then both our nerdism kicked in. So
yeah.
it got great to know. What do you do when you're not teaching? You said nothing when I had mentioned this to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just one of those. I
Besides
get home.
painting.
Yeah, I know house projects. I mean, that's my passion.
Yeah.
Is house projects of late. Yeah, I'm kind of like just a Netflix.
Are
kinda
you
gal.
are you a gotta be doing something person, or can you sit down and
No,
relax?
I can chill.
Okay,
I can relax.
that's nice. So
Yeah.
for you, it's a go-to TV. Are you a flip through games on your phone person?
No.
No. Are you a nature walking, hiking, biking kind of
No,
person?
Not really.
Okay, so just a homebody.
I'm a home. I'm
That's
most
fine.
content at home.
That's
I
fine.
do not garden. I
Okay.
don't do. I mean, it's like I don't do a lot outside, but just being at home. Maybe if I'll just bake a batch of cookies.
Okay.
Or,
do you like
yeah.
to cook other than just? I mean, are you a cooker in the family or not?
I
really?
mean,
You
yes.
do the cooking, but is that something you like? Oh, I love making. Not
I think when I get to where I'm retired, I will enjoy it more. Like right now, again,
Understood.
working a 40-hour week, and it's like you get home,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh, what's for dinner? It's like,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah. My
and I
wife's
do
the
stuff
same.
after school.
Yep.
I do Saturday school. I do a lot of little things just to kind of help with the income,
Yeah,
so I
of
can
course.
then travel. Like that's one. Okay, that's one thing I do like to do. I don't do it
Good.
often.
Yeah.
But get that extra little bit of coin, and then
Yeah. Plan
Coach
a
and I
trip.
can go
Yeah,
on a
it's a
cruise
goal.
or go do something.
That's
so.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. And then the last thing that I feel like we have in common is we both enjoy. I've said nerd a couple times, but we both enjoy that sort of intellectual puns, wordplay. That's always
Yeah.
something that
Oh,
you'll
yeah.
send me or I'll send you. My favorite was, I think, when you sent me the shirts that you bought a couple years ago. I forget. One of them was something about my cold comma dead comma hands. I'll give up my Oxford comma, or
When you
something.
pry out of my
Cold comma, dead-
dead comma.
So
hands.
so a lot of stuff that I think. I always say puns are an intelligence test, and because a lot of people would look at that shirt and just be like,
And the only thing
I
on
don't
that
get
shirt
it.
that was red was that little Oxford comma.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think most people would look at that and not get it in the world.
Right.
Probably 70% of people wouldn't get it, maybe more. And so the fact that we're both, it sounds like I'm being conceited with us, but the fact that we both got, that level of humor where we understand details and
Well,
that
I
makes
walked
us
through
laugh.
the door. I had on the one that said, "That's what."
Yes.
And then underneath it said "she."
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I walked through the door, and you just broke out like
Yeah.
it was instant.
Yes,
And
and-
most people didn't get that.
Most people don't
Yeah.
even read shirts, I don't think. But yes,
it's
I don't
the
know
fun.
why. I wore one the other day. I made one over break for myself that has a skeleton standing at a music stand, and I did it with the Cricut machine, which I was talking to you about earlier. And it said, it says Mr. K on the stand, and underneath it says Neilsville Music Department, and then it's a picture of a skeleton holding a baton, and at the top it says, "I'll wait until it's quiet."
Yeah.
I might have gotten 2 laughs that day. People either just didn't read it, or
Even the kids.
yeah, they didn't, or they go, oh, like they don't get the idea that I'm waiting until I'm dead. That's how long. It's so weird how people, it really is an IQ test for me.
Yeah.
And so, anyway. Well, anything else you want to add, or shall we move on?
We shall.
Okay, here we go. We'll go to segment 2. Segment 2 we're going to do is class lists. And I came up with every time I get these emails, I've signed up for a couple emails where they send you interesting lists or fascinating facts or whatever. And I love these. So every time I find one that's kind of interesting, I throw it into my notes file of things to do on the podcast. So I went back and grabbed this one because I know you love movies.
Okay.
And I thought these are favorite, and I was going to use these with Will, but some of these are classic movies. Not that but just that our familiarity with movies might So these are classic 11 memorable movie lines that echo through time is the way it's worded. And so I'm going to give you the line, and you're going to try to tell me which iconic movie this line was from.
Okay.
So the first one is, "Here's looking at you, kid."
Oh, that is Casablanca.
That is Casablanca. A cinematic masterpiece, Diane, they said, that stood the test of time, gifted audiences with a timeless gem, the poignant line delivered by Humphrey Bogart in his role as Rick Blaine. The epitome of cool sophistication in his era, Bogart condensed the sentiment of parting ways with a loved one through the restrained but deeply emotional delivery of this simple line.
Is was looking at you, kid.
So there you go. So that's number one. You're 1 for 1.
All right.
Not that we're keeping score.
No,
we
no.
never keep score on this podcast.
No.
It's never about
Let's go.
competition. May the force be with you. Feel like that's an easy one to throw out.
Kind of think.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be any of them.
Could be
Star
any of
Wars.
them. This one,
We'll say the original.
it is pulling it from the original one, May the Force be with you, which has translated in modern times to May the Fourth be with you, where all the Star Wars
Star Wars
aficionados
Day.
celebrate Star Wars.
Or get married on that day.
Yes.
Then man your ships, and may the force be with you.
Hey, Luke. May the force be with you.
It's not just a nod to the movies. It's a fun way for fans to come together. It says to celebrate their love for Star Wars and all things Star Wars.
Are you a Star Wars kind of guy?
I am yes, I am a Star Wars guy much more than I'm a Star Trek person.
Yeah.
I was never a Star Trek person. I'm not a Trekkie. I've never really watched. I've maybe seen 1 or 2 of the original Star Trek movies, but for some reason, Star Wars I could identify with better.
Okay.
So yes, I will admit, going to Disney this past trip when Star Wars Land was open and we finally got to see it, I was. I'm getting goosebumps. I was absolutely amazed at the Rise of the Resistance ride. I don't know if you're a Star Wars person or not.
Somewhat. I mean, my son Ross, who you met,
Right. Yes.
he went over the summer.
Gotcha.
And he was just enthralled by
Yes.
that.
The
So
land
cool.
was smaller than I thought, but that particular ride, boy, they encapsulate
Yes.
a lot of major set designs from the movies and characters from the movie. And as you go through it, it's literally one thing after another of, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm standing in the movie.
Yeah.
And without giving anything away, it's pretty, you get off of it going, wow, like just a little speechless.
Was worth the wait in line.
Yes, to be honest, we don't have a long wait. We have, for 2 reasons, we're able to get a DAS, a Disability Access Pass.
Okay.
One for Logan, and one because of my wife. I don't know if it's not a secret, but my wife had skin cancer, a melanoma removed a couple years back on her face. And so she's not supposed to spend a lot of time in the sun.
Okay.
Believe it or not, that qualifies her for a disability pass.
Good for
Now, what it does is it doesn't allow you to just walk onto the ride anymore. They changed the way it used to be. It's a long story, but people were actually hiring disabled people to be in their family for the day just to be able to qualify for the
Oh,
disabled
my.
disabled people. I mean, I guess nice disabled people were getting a job out of it, but not the way the system was designed to work.
Okay.
So they changed it so that you no longer get to walk on the exit, but you get to sign up for a virtual time to return. So
Okay.
what happens is we can wait in one line but sign up for another one at the same time. And then the minute we go to the second one, we wait in another line but sign up for another time. And then so when you show up later at your time, you then get to walk on the fast pass line. So it does save a little time. So we fast passed anything that we thought was going to be hours long.
Okay.
So, and it's still
Interesting.
maybe a 30-minute wait, but not the 90 minutes,
Right.
that, or 2 hours that sometimes it can be.
Right.
All right, how about this one? Susan, there's no place like home.
The Wizard of Oz.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
The first, you know what it was the first movie for, I think?
Technicolor.
I think so. I think it was.
Yep.
And that scene where they go from black and white to color.
When
And
she
you just,
enters Oz. Yeah.
Yes, when she opens the door. And such a cool, iconic movie. That's another one. Good. How about number 4? One of my favorite movies. Here's Johnny.
Oh, that's The Shining.
The Shining.
Here's Johnny.
I don't know if I ever watched that all the way through.
Oh,
You see,
my
of course, the
goodness.
iconic, where
Right.
he's crazed and with
Right.
the axe in the door, but
That movie.
and the red rum.
Yeah, Red Rum. Yeah. He lives inside my mouth, Mrs. Torrance. I am not addicted, but that's my favorite horror movie of all time. Here's the thing. I don't mind blood and gore, but I don't seek it out. That movie doesn't really do it with blood and gore. It does it with a steady, slow burn of madness.
Yes.
Watching,
You don't know what he's capable of.
No, and watching Jack Nicholson slowly decay and... Man, when he does the scene where he's following Wendy up the stairs, when he finally starts to, and he's doing that, Wendy, light of my life, and he's got that look in his eye, and you're just like, his dude is gone. He's gone. Get out of there, except for your snowed in.
Please! Don't hurt me!
I'm not gonna hurt you.
Stay away from me!
Wendy!
Stay away!
Darling! Light of my life! I'm not gonna hurt you. You didn't let me finish my sentence. I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in.
The whole idea, and plus the setting, that hotel is a gorgeous setting for a movie. It's absolutely creepy. When you imagine you're I worked security in college. We talked about this at a mall. When you're in a mall at night, that's creepy enough.
Yeah.
When you're the only one in there, and you're walking around and you hear noise. But when you're in a hotel like that, and that's a beautiful real hotel somewhere. I forget where it is, but Colorado maybe.
Yeah, it's in the.
When you're in a big, huge, beautiful hotel like that, I can't imagine being there alone. That place is huge. So anyway, yes, The Shining, great movie from 1980. How about another easy one, To Infinity and Beyond?
Oh, that's Toy Story.
There you go. That's Buzz Lightyear's catchphrase from Toy Story.
To infinity and beyond.
How about I Feel the Need for Speed?
Oh no, I know that one.
I feel the need for speed. And then they high five right after they say it, if that gives you a little context clue.
Is that Will Ferrell?
It is not. It is prior to anything Will Ferrell.
Okay.
This was, I'll give you a hint, 1986.
Oh, wait a minute. That's Tom Cruise.
That is from?
The one with Maverick, Top Gun.
Top Gun, there you go. That's exactly right.
That's
1986.
I feel the need for speed.
Oh, gosh. And then they redid I didn't see the remake. Was it good?
Maverick was excellent.
Was it really?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to have to check it out.
Very good. And it's on like, I think it's on
one
Netflix.
Of the streamings?
It's streaming, but I think it's free if you subscribe to whichever
I worried
one it
that
is.
they would, jump the shark, that it would be bad, but
no,
you're saying it's
worthy
good.
sequel. Very worthy. And Val Kilmer is in it.
Good.
And he's, in real life he's diminished. I don't know if is he still with us?
I'm not sure. I was thinking maybe not, but maybe.
I don't know, but yeah.
A quick check. I have Google at my fingertips.
Please do.
Val Kilmer. Oh my goodness, he definitely doesn't look himself.
No.
Born 1959, no death date yet, so he must still be with us.
Hanging in there. I don't know what his health
affliction
issue
is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, without going.
I think it was something with his throat. I think it was something with he couldn't speak.
Oh.
And something. So in the movie they had whatever his character in the movie.
Like a voiceover. Well, he's got in every picture I see here, he's got some type of ascot or scarf around his throat. So maybe injury or. Okay, so that's number 6. Number 7. You Talking to Me?
That's Scarface, right? No, it's one of those. Yeah,
it is one of those. 1976. I'll give you a hint. He's talking in the mirror to himself. He's practicing his tough guy routine before he goes out on the town. No, it's actually. I'll give you a hint. The guy that was in one of the guys in The Godfather was in this movie. Okay. This was probably I'm thinking before Godfather, but maybe not. This is De Niro. If that helps you out. This is Robert De Niro. You talking to me? I don't see anybody else in here. See? No?
I know this. I know it, but like De Niro. Gosh.
He was practicing because he had this little contraption on his hand that would put a gun in his hand real fast.
And I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
I just can't think of.
It's okay.
Name.
Jodie Foster. I'm pretty sure she was in it. I think this is where she got There's a very famous scene I think with her in this movie, but.
She was in Taxi Driver.
That's what this movie's from.
That's what that comes from.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I never saw Taxi Driver.
Yeah, I watched it because I knew it was an iconic line. I figured I need to watch the movie.
You talking to me? You talking to me? talking to me?
I'm not. I don't do, not that anybody does, but I particularly don't do well with violence against women scenes.
Yeah.
And her scene in that is terrible, so that's hard. But I wanted to see the rest of the movie because, it's De Niro, and it's one of his early, claims to fame.
Her older sister would stood in for some of the more, I want to say, adult scenes.
Oh, really?
For
I didn't
her,
know
she
that.
has an older sister, and she
like a body double.
Body double.
Okay,
for
I didn't
her,
know that.
because she was only 13 or something at that time.
Okay, well that
And
makes
they said,
sense.
"Eh."
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and De Niro was, he was the taxi driver. That's
Right,
what it was.
and
was
he
trying to
became
protect her.
vigilante. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, exactly. A little bit kind of like an Equalizer plot with Denzel, kind of like he sees bad things happening and he just can't live with the filth that's going on in society. So, all right, very good. Let's
So
move
I didn't
on.
get that one, though.
No, I think that's
Yeah.
one miss, but that's okay.
All right.
This one I would not have known, but you may. Why so serious?
Oh, that's the Joker. But which movie?
Okay.
It's one of the Dark Knights. Is it just the original?
The original of The Dark Knight.
So, me watching, he takes the knife to her, laughing while he does it. He turns to me and he says, "Why so serious?"
All right, good for you. See, I'm not
a Batman. I
Are
love
you?
Batman.
Okay.
He's got cool tools.
You and Will would get along a lot with the superhero love. I've just never.
Yeah.
I was never into it as a kid. My dad wasn't into it.
And if there's a
Nobody-
Batman movie on, Coach will tell you it's just I just got
It's like. doo-doo-doo-doo.
Are you gonna flip? No.
Okay.
Now we're watching Batman.
Gotcha. Best Batman movie? 3, 2, 1.
Ooh, any of the Dark Knights.
Okay.
The whole of the trilogy.
So where should I start?
The first one.
The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and that's Heath Ledger, right?
Yes, who was the Joker? Yeah, that he played the Joker. There was a bunch of people that played it, but I think his portrayal of the Joker, and there's even actually Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay.
There was
That's Joaquin. No,
yeah,
just-
Joaquin. They did an origin movie,
Okay.
Joker, and I cannot deny him. He did a fantastic job
good.
too. But if I had to compare, then I kind of just Heath Ledger.
You gotta lean
yeah,
Heath.
that's my Joker.
All right. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
And that's another one. When he comes on,
Yeah.
you just stay on that shit. No matter where you are in Forrest Gump,
Correct.
you have to watch.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
I have friends that shred that movie. They don't like it. I don't know how you cannot. And I'll be honest, I had a Jenny in my life, and I just the whole fact that he pursues her so hard and that she is always kind to him, but it just that whole
You're
love
friend
story
zoned.
is and he was just he didn't understand, but he tried hard. But and I love the way some people think it's hokey, but I love the way they tie in they do it tongue in cheek. They don't expect people to believe that's really where the smile S happens shirt or something comes from. But some people, it's stupid. It wasn't really. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be humorous.
Right.
When he meets the president, I gotta pee. And I had to be about 14 of them Dr. Peppers, and of course Gary Sinise. What a great, brilliant actor as Lieutenant. You ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah.
All right, number 10. I'll be back.
The Terminator.
Yeah,
the original.
You got Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Where is she? Look, it may take a while. You want to wait? There's a bench over there.
I'll be back.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Oh, Jaws,
Yeah.
classic.
Yeah, that's.
Love that.
These are lines that as soon as you hear them, you know.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. But again, people. We are of the slightly older
Correct.
generation.
Correct.
And I don't know whether or not some people. Like the movie Jaws, which is to me
Right.
iconic. That's like
Correct.
required.
Correct.
Required. Movie
Yeah,
watching.
exactly.
And they don't know the movie.
No.
So.
But to anybody post 35, I would think you should know
Yeah.
most of the. I've never. confession. I've never watched Casablanca, but I know that line from Casablanca. You know?
And I've seen most of it, I think. I think
Yeah.
I did maybe I did see the whole thing, but
Yeah, you're going to need a
once.
bigger. I mean, the
and that just came out. I mean, that was like one of those. I've read all these like notes on the
Yes,
movies,
right.
And that was one of those where they were joking around on set, like whoever.
which one? I'm sorry.
Jaws.
Jaws. Okay.
And they were kind of joking around saying, "No, you're going to need a bigger boat." So, but that was not in the script.
Okay.
And the actor, Schreider.
Yeah, Robert Schneider or Robert somebody,
I see
right?
his face.
Yeah.
That guy.
The sheriff, the cop.
Yeah, the cop. He just said the line.
Right.
And they just were like,
Yeah, that
okay.
works.
And
Yeah.
it worked, and they kept it.
Well,
It
as
wasn't
opposed
supposed
to how nerdy and, I don't know if he was trying to play it nerdy. I'm sure he was, but how young Dreyfus was in that. And he's
Yeah.
like, well, the intended squalith is, and he starts, when he's doing those reports and he's wiping it. I know he was portraying it nerdy, but he was really good at being nerdy in
Yes.
that. This was no boating accident.
They pull out this huge tube.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, all right, and that was our last one. So pretty good, but it's funny how I would add maybe "You Can't Handle the Truth" as an iconic movie line. Are there from A Few Good Men?
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Are there any you can think of off the top of your head, like that when you hear it,
I mean,
you know
off the top of
instantly?
my head now.
Yeah,
like,
there's too many.
So many of them.
But you think of an iconic movie and like The Need for Speed, or from Top Gun, and just so many great movies where one line you wait for it the whole line, or it's the line that everybody quotes or everybody knows, and so very cool. Well, that's a fun little thing there with movies. Now for our last segment, we're going to go into segment 3. Can't believe we haven't been
which one?
The last one.
Oh, the last one.
We're going to go on to the last one. I can't believe we haven't been interrupted by more overhead announcements this afternoon. I think they think everybody's
they all
gone.
fled the scene.
They must have.
Because of the horrific weather.
You requested a faux Shizzle My Quizzle, so
Yes,
we
I
could
did.
do some quizzing of each other.
Yes.
So we're not going to use our boards or anything. We'll just keep track of rights and wrongs. Would you like to give me my questions first, or shall I give you your questions
I
first?
think it's time for you to answer some questions.
I will answer. I'm ready to go.
All right. So.
Here we go. I'm ready.
All right.
I think. I'm loosening up.
Loosen
Yeah,
up.
Got it.
All right. Who painted the Mona Lisa?
Leonardo da Vinci.
Ding, 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 ding. Very good.
And I recently learned his last name was not Da Vinci. Da Vinci was like the something, like Leonardo the painter or Leonardo the something.
So Vinci means something in Italian.
I think it does, but I forget now what I read. Anyway.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Oops.
Number 2. So I'm 1 for 1.
All right, 1 for 1.
I got to get Will's rule is 60% to pass. So
You just need 50% for MCPS.
I know.
Yeah.
Even I don't know if I told you this, but one of the teachers here who became a citizen later in life, he went to take his citizenship test, and we were like, how was it? And this was maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and he's like, oh, it was weird. He got these 10 questions. I said 10 because we helped him study, right? He's like, I think I got it, but we'll help you study. Yeah. And so he took it, and he got to question 6, and they ended the test. And he said, I was scared for a minute. I was like, well, what happened? He goes, I guess you only have to get 6 out of 10. I got the first 6 right, so they went, you don't even have to finish the test. I was like, welcome to America, where a D is good enough. So anyway, question 2.
Oh, goodness. Okay. What is speaking of movies, what is the highest grossing film of all time? And I can give you choices. I might help you to give you choices. But that's up
let's
to you.
try without it first. Okay. So I feel like at the time Avatar might have been one of the most highest grossing, but Titanic was probably up there too.
Those are 2 of the choices. By the way.
Yeah. I'll go with Avatar.
All right, I'm going to give you choices.
So I won't go with Avatar.
Okay. So we're going to strike Avatar off the list.
All right.
It could be Titanic, Avengers Endgame, or Star Wars The Force Awakens.
So I'm pretty sure it's not Star Wars because I think I would have known that, but the Avengers Endgame I know was huge because Will and Press talked about it. So Titanic or Avengers?
It's a tough one.
Titanic was so huge, but Avengers has such a cult following.
It does.
So the highest grossing means that's everything like movie box or box office sales.
I think box office
right?
sales, yeah.
I'll go with Avengers because I know it's huge, and I feel like people would have gone back to see it more than they would have gone back to see Titanic.
You are correct.
Okay.
Very good.
So I noodled it through. Well, 1.5 for 2 because you let me cheat.
That's okay.
All right.
Well,
next one.
if I'd given you the choices first, you didn't want the choices. So,
no, I didn't.
yeah.
Will doesn't ever take the choices, so it makes me feel like I have to do it
but
without
see,
the
Will's not
choices.
here.
No, he's not. So we can make
He's
our
not
own
even
rules.
watching.
He's at basketball practice probably.
He'll just skip this episode. He's not in it.
Well, he's got a game tonight, so he won't even be able to watch. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's go. Question 3.
Question 3. What word describes... here's an English question, which I hope this isn't on the list that you have for me.
I hope not, too.
What word describes a word that spells the same thing backward and forward?
This is not on my quiz, but I happen to know this is a palindrome.
Very good.
Yeah.
A palindrome.
Like race car.
That was race car one.
Yeah, that's the one I always remember.
Okay.
Isn't that 2 words, though? Well, I don't know if race car
whatever.
is one word, but race car. Yeah.
Yeah.
RACECAR. RACECAR. Backwards, yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, good.
You
3
got
for
that
3.
one.
2.5 for 3.
All right. In what country are the Summer Olympics going to be held this year,
gosh.
2024? And I have choices.
LA always seems to be bidding for them, and I feel like I heard that they were bidding for them again, but I just don't remember what year. I'm not a huge Olympics guy, but I do like to watch it if it's on.
Well, I will say it's not in the U.S.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
I think they were 2028 or beyond. I heard that they were up to bid again. I'll say it is going to be held because of you. I will say Germany. Final answer.
Ooh, not Germany. It is in Paris, France.
Paris, France. Paris.
Paris.
All right.
Okay.
Some 3, 2.5 for 4.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Speaking of all things German.
Okay.
Although I shouldn't say that. In which country was Adolf Hitler born?
I would think Austria.
You would be correct.
Okay.
Very good. Why would you think Austria and not Germany?
Because I've remembered Austrian descent with Hitler. For some reason that's kicked in because, I don't know why, but I feel like Austria is in my brain for where he was born. So I don't know why.
You are well read.
Unless it's my no, never mind. There's not a joke. There's not a good joke to be made here.
Something with Krashaar?
No, I was going to say unless it's my, Hitler book collection that I have at home where I studied all about, right next to my serial killer book collection. Right. No,
Mein Kampf.
It reminds me of Will turned me onto this show. A couple people had told me about it, but I never watched it really till Will kind of pushed it on me. Was the Impractical Jokers?
Oh, love that.
And there's an episode, for those that aren't familiar, it's a scene of 4 high school buddies who try to embarrass each other for the purposes of entertainment.
Right.
And one of the scenes, they make Sal present a book that's about Hitler, but it portrays him as a good guy.
Oh my goodness.
And Sal's like trying to convince these people that
and he's Jewish.
that this is and that it's a good book. And he's like, well, I mean, Hitler had some good ideas. I mean, he didn't go about them the right way, but he's trying. And they're like, are you serious? A book about the people that are clueless are like, why Hitler? He's like, well, I mean, there are good. He did have some good ideas, and he's trying to sell the idea of this being a great idea to
what was
bring
that Mel Brooks thing where this thing was like springtime for Hitler?
For Hitler, yeah, absolutely. So it's just silly. But anyway, so Austria, 3.5
very
for 5.
Good. All right. So, this is a boy band question because you're a music guy.
I'm out. But go ahead, give it a shot.
So, what was the name of the group that Justin Timberlake was a part of?
Oh,
And there was like maybe 2 or 3 popular boy bands. But which one?
Shannon's going to be so mad at me.
I probably wouldn't have guessed. I don't know. I don't pay attention.
I'm thinking, wasn't he a Backstreet Boy? That's my guess.
He wasn't.
Oh, he was in NSYNC?
He was.
Darn it. I never will listen to boy bands, but speaking of talent, I would be Justin Timberlake if I had a choice. I mean, he's handsome. He's a dancer. He can sing. He's a legit, like a lot of those boy bands.
On the SNL stuff. You see all the stuff he does.
But
crazy.
I'll tell you what really put me over the top was seeing him sing Tennessee Whiskey with Chris Stapleton at the Country Music Awards years back.
Never saw him.
Maybe I'll throw a little snippet of a video in here from YouTube if I can. But
Tennessee Whiskey. I looked for love in all the same old places. Found the bottom of the bottle's always dry. But when you put out your heart, I didn't waste it. 'Cause there's nothing like your love to get me high.
It is. I didn't realize he was from Nashville.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
And he has soul. And when he sings, Chris Stapleton, of course, being one of the most soulful country music stars out there right now. And when he does, they get up and they do Drink You Away, which I think is a Justin Timberlake song. Or maybe it's, but anyway, they do his, and it just hits so hard. And the two of them, I mean, look, goosebumps. They're so, I'm legit, I can't show the camera, but boy, they sing the heck out of that song.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, he blew me away. And then, yes, all the stuff with Jimmy Fallon is just, so talented.
Well,
Both
wearing
of
the
those
costumes, like when they're doing all of the
guys.
whatever.
Yeah, come on down to Burger Town.
Right.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, he's hilarious. He can do anything.
Yeah.
So, anyway. All right. So,
Okay. In sync.
I was wrong on that one. So, 3.5 for 6, I think.
Okay. But we're not keeping track,
No,
right?
no.
So it doesn't matter.
No, I'm not even going to keep track anymore.
Stop taking track.
Okay. 3.5 for 6.
Nature question. What is the largest species of bear? What's the biggest bear?
My instinct went to grizzly because I know those bears are big. There's also Kodiak is. Oh man, I forget if Kodiak's the same as grizzly. It's just what they call them in Alaska. But polar is also up there. They're big bears too. Not the black bear.
No.
Brown and grizzly are the same. So I guess I got two choices: grizzly, polar, grizzly, polar, grizzly. I'm gonna go with grizzly bear.
That was polar.
Ah, dang it!
But see, you knew. You narrowed
Yes.
it down to the 50-50, which is what I always do,
Yeah.
and then I choose wrong.
Yeah, but if I was with Regis and he said, "What's your final answer?" I locked in the wrong answer.
Oh.
I went home. I
But you
didn't
didn't
win Who
phone
Wants
a
to Be a
friend.
Millionaire. No, I didn't. I could have phoned you.
Who would you? Yeah, why would?
'Cause you had the answer.
I had the answer, right?
Well, why wouldn't I
Okay.
phone anybody else? You got the answer right in front of me. So polar bears,
Touché.
I wonder how
Yeah,
much bigger
polar.
they get. Grizzlies are, I don't know. I've never been around a polar bear. I know grizzlies are the more aggressive of the black bear, grizzly bear.
I mean,
don't know
they
about
encounter
polars.
probably more than a polar bear. What do they encounter out?
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
not. Penguins, emperor penguins, maybe.
Yeah. And they're pretty big.
Yeah, I don't know. But
they
they
wouldn't-
walk funny.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Well, they're balancing that
That's like-
egg on their
Yeah,
feet
that's all right.
when they're not happy feeding it.
All right.
Okay, we're at number 8.
Okay, go ahead.
Stop it. What is the name of the scale used to measure the spiciness of peppers?
Joule scale. No, I'm kidding. I know this because I love this. It is so many. The Scoville scale.
Yes.
I had to think like it's 320,000.
I thought it was Skogel.
Skogel?
Yeah, I thought it
with
was
a G?
Skogel, but
No,
it's
like
you are correct.
Scoville units, right? They measure it in units, I
what's the
think.
scale? Yeah, I'm sure.
Scoville units. Yeah, and I'm a hot food person.
What's the
but
spiciest pepper you've eaten?
I don't know where they go. I don't know the order. I mean, I've definitely had jalapenos and
Yeah.
habaneros, and I've had
Which are spicy,
The red
correct?
hot. I think habaneros are worse than jalapenos,
Okay.
but I'm not
You
sure.
mean worse? I mean better.
Spicier, right?
Spicier.
My former pastor that is retired now will grow pepper. They were missionaries. He's one of the people I'm hoping to get on the Curious Minds podcast cross promote. But he and his wife were missionaries in the Philippines for 17 years, and I guess the Filipino food is very spicy, and so Mr. Bobby he could put a burning log in his mouth and be just fine. Like
It just tastes like pain.
For him,
like,
he always has liked it, and ever since I was a little kid and watched him eat spicy food, and it doesn't faze him much. And he will grow peppers, and he makes a pepper relish, like to put on sandwiches, lunch meat sandwiches. And it's not just hot; it's got like when I eat something, I want hot flavor.
Yes.
I don't just want hot to burn myself.
Right.
So I would never go into a restaurant and try a ghost pepper or anything.
No.
Or I will say this. He's no longer with us, but a guy that I used to teach with, he was a speech pathologist at Neelsville. His name was Phil Raines. Phil took me to the Outback a lot because he would go there for happy hour often. He was an older teacher than I was, and he just took a fondness to me because I was a musician. He had season tickets to Wagner operas, and he would lecture on Wagner around the country. He was like a Wagner expert. Loved music, and took me under his wing. Him and his wife both, Kathy. Anyway, he was friends with the chef, I guess, and the chef would make him these really hot, spicy wings. He's like, give Dirk an order of my wings. It took me a half an hour to get through like 4 of the 6, and it was not like it wasn't enjoyable at that point.
No.
Like I like hot food, but I'm not out to prove anything.
Correct.
So I don't really know, but anyway.
Okay, so we're at number 9. Got 2 more.
4.5.
Oh my God, why is he doing this? Which celebrity has hosted Saturday Night Live the most?
I used to know this.
It's like this person just keeps coming on.
I always thought it was Steve Martin.
Okay.
But you didn't react, so.
No. Oh, I could have had that poker face.
No, you told me earlier that you didn't want to do lie to me because you.
I know, because I laugh.
You have a poker face. You don't have a good poker face. If it's not Steve Martin, it's got to be one of those guys, though, doesn't it? It's got to be one of those. Is it an old school guy?
I would think of. It's not an old school guy.
Really?
But think of someone who would have like a regular gig, like a skit, and they would do the skit all the time, or, I think that's. When I saw the answer, I was like, okay, yeah.
I don't watch it all the time, though. That's the thing. I mean, there's
played. I
Martin
give you
Short, Dana Carvey.
Yeah, he was not a cast member.
Oh, he was never
a cast member. He was not a cast member. So this is a guest.
Okay.
And they had him in a bunch of.
Martin Short wasn't a cast member, was he?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Bill Murray wasn't he?
He was.
So it wasn't him. Is it of that era or newer than that?
I would say a little bit more current, but 17 times, so over a lot of years.
Huh. Will you give me an initial?
A first name?
I don't care.
It is, I'm going to say A. Period. B. Period.
Antonio Banderas.
Oh, so close. This person has
A, B.
He likes to promote his shreddy balls.
Oh, Alec Baldwin. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, I forgot.
He's on
that.
National Public Radio.
I gotcha. When he's not filming. No, never mind. Too soon. When he's not filming westerns, I don't. That dude. He's had a really storied existence. So, and that whole thing out west. I need to do a dive into the details of that because I still don't know how that all ended up. But as someone who is slightly familiar with the topic, I honestly don't know how that thing happens by accident. Mm-hmm. That's just a weird situation on the movie. And then I think they finally finished it, right, and put it out, or they finished filming it.
No.
Not sure.
Not sure.
Well, I didn't do as well as I'd like.
Oh, there's one more.
Oh, okay.
That was only 9. We'll go quick because we're for the sake of time.
All right, so 5.5. I can get a D if I get this one right.
Okay, it's a fast food question.
All right. Oh, well.
Which fast food restaurant serves a Baconator?
Diane, let me tell you something. My son, thanks to Logan for this one. Yeah. Logan, thank you. Orders the Baconator every time we go to. Ooh, geez, which is it?
I turned my phone off because I thought you knew.
I do know, but I forget now. Baconator. I know it's Wendy's or Burger King. I just have to narrow it down. I'm going to go with Wendy's. Final answer.
Correct.
Yeah, because I don't get that. I get the Dave's Double, but my son always goes with the Baconator.
How much bacon is on a Baconator?
I tried it once, and it was actually more bacon than I wanted.
Wow.
Like, it's a lot. I mean, it's not, like a pound, but it's more
worthy of the name.
It's definitely worthy of the name, but I want to taste the burger more than the bacon. Oh. Like, why not just have a bacon sandwich at that point?
Is there cheese?
I think so. Yes. Yeah, it's got everything. It's got all the good stuff, but it's just it's almost a little much for me, at least. Okay. So, well, anyway, that's our. Right. So I ended up 6.5 out of 10. So I made the D.
You did it. Okay, good for you.
Yeah, it's me, a D student, all the way. Susan Austin, I would like to finish today with a little joke, right. And it's not as bad as last week's joke. I'll say that. This one's pretty good. So this was about a man who was driving down the road when a policeman stopped him. This would be a good joke to tell my middle school students.
Okay.
A man was driving down the road when a policeman stopped him. The officer looked in the back of the man's truck and said, "Hey, why are these penguins in the back of your truck?" We were talking about penguins earlier. Mm-hmm. The man said, "Well, these are my penguins. They belong to me." And the police officer said, "You can't do that. You need to take them to the zoo." The next day, the officer saw the same guy driving down the same road. He pulled him over again. He looked in the back. Guess what was still there? The penguins. He said, "Hey, I thought I told you to take these penguins to the zoo." He said, "Look at them. They're wearing sunglasses. I took them to the zoo yesterday. Today we're going to the beach." Yeah, bad joke.
It's cute.
None of them end, but that's a good kid's joke.
Yeah, it's a good
it's a good kid's joke. Well, Miss Austin /deal/, thank you so much for coming in and doing our podcast this week.
It's a dream come true to me.
It goes... Okay, all right. Sarcasm. Be careful. You'll set off the sarcasm alert. But seriously, I think it goes faster than it feels. Like,
yes, it does.
When you do it, it's like, oh, we're done already. It's a lot of fun. But if it's okay, I'll keep you on the will call list.
Okay.
Or the will can't, so I'll call list.
Exactly, the will can't list.
Yeah, the will can't list. So in case in the future, I have a handful of people who can sub and fill in during basketball season, and hopefully Coach Austin didn't fall out of his chair surprised at the fact that
I know we did not tell Coach.
You did not tell him you were going to come film today, so he's probably wondering where you are.
It wasn't the dark of night, but I did sneak here. I did
sneak here. And thank you so much for doing that. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of episode 43. By the way, if you stuck around this long, thank you. But Miss Terry, we're sorry we didn't want to do your Woman of the Week because Miss Deal doesn't know you, but Will was, so we wanted to save that for Will. So we're going to postpone that 1 week, and hopefully we'll get time to film that next week. So for those of you that came here for the Miss Terry Woman on the Street, we will be doing that next week. I have it all queued up and ready. In the meantime, please ring the bell for us. Don't forget to check out, by the time this airs, will be, it'll be just a couple days before My Curious Minds podcast. I would love for people to subscribe to that. And I'm not going to cross-promote all the time because it's not fair, but in the beginning here to get some people following, please go check it out. I would love
the promo.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. I was just trying to be silly playing with iMovie, and my wife, she came home and she watched. I said, "Honey, look at this. This is great." And she watched it over my shoulder and then went with I think what wives do often, which is, "What's wrong with you?" She's like, "You're going to get in trouble. You can't put a Ron Howard." I was like, if Ron Howard sues me for this, it'll be the best thing that ever happened to me. Anyway, well, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week on the White Chocolate Podcast. Thank you. Bye-bye.